5 years. What can you do in 5 years?
5 years.
You know the Soviets had 5-year plans that they could fix their entire economy and change all the shit they wanted to do in 5 years, an entire country's economy.
Did it work?
I mean, I don't know.
Okay.
Soviet, but the point is,
5 years is a long time.
it takes Rust and Daisy 5 years to get out of early access.
Oh boy, that's true. So this week we're going to be talking about early access games. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the absolute and utter state of bullshit. Sorry, I get animated about this. That is AAA release games today.
Yes. Yeah, when a AAA game says they're coming out on 9/1/23,
Doesn't
22.
matter what they're coming out on. It's
Yeah, it'll be 6 months later. Mm-hmm. And then when they release it, it'll be 6 months worth of patches before the game's playable. Cyberpunk is a good one for that.
Cyberpunk's a great example. Great game now. Dog shit game when it released.
Yes. I don't think anybody was happy when it released.
No one could even run it.
No.
Yeah, I got it on PlayStation. It did not run.
Does it run now?
I haven't tried. I don't care.
At this point,
But there were like hogs of PCs, like just monster PCs, like these shit that could. Here's what gets me.
I have a feeling this is going to get intense. I'm going to take my
Here's what gets me. The computer
Yes.
that got Apollo 13 to the fucking moon.
If you believe that sort of thing, yes.
Yeah, if you believe in that thing, whatever. It's beside the point. Is basically a calculator. That's it. Like it's the equivalent of. I bet you can't even run Doom on it, and people have gotten Doom to run on calculators.
You're not wrong. You're probably right.
Okay. The fact that Doom can run on a calculator, but a AAA game that releases can't run on some high-grade, super AI brain technical shit is ridiculous to me.
Absolutely. Why do you think that is?
I think the biggest issue is the publishers. I don't necessarily place all the blame on the developers.
I agree.
I think the publishers, especially people like EA, Sega, Activision, the big names,
yeah,
they want that money as quick as possible.
Yeah.
And rather than go through and quote-unquote early access, they'll release a game with DLC, and the first major update they're going to do is more DLC, or a shop. Prime example, Company of Heroes 3.
Keep going. I don't know anything about Company of Heroes 3.
Well, I mean, it's obviously cheaper to just make a game, sell it out, and fix it later.
Yeah.
That's just the reality of that.
Well, it's part of this whole thing of games as a service.
Yeah.
You know, like Destiny, when it released, was like, hey, for 10 years, we have a 10-year plan of we're going to release this game and support this game, and then we're going to chop it off.
When did Destiny 2 come out again? Was it like 6 years later?
I think Destiny 2 is like, I think it was exactly 5 years.
You think that was part of the 10-year plan?
I think so. Let's check out the Destiny series here.
I don't know. Back when I was a kid.
Yeah, here we go. Uphill both ways in the snow. Let's go.
No, game's just released.
Oh.
You may not get a patch ever. I remember Warcraft 1, when that came out on the floppy disk back in the day. You got the floppy disk. There was no patches. You couldn't get patches. Yep. It was just, it either worked or it didn't. And thank God it worked.
And God forbid that there was a game there that just didn't work, because then it just didn't sell.
Yeah, that's why AAA title companies were so important back then.
Yeah, because they had they were vetted and could produce. But you know what's funny? An indie company, like let's look at Clay Entertainment.
Okay,
they're the ones that make Don't Starve Together.
Okay, gotcha.
It's Clay or Cly or something like that.
Yeah,
okay,
good games.
Grifflands. They have all these early access games, and these early access games release with about as many features and about half the bugs, if that, of the AAA releases.
I think we bought. It's
because they have to. If they don't release good, they don't get to make up for it.
Exactly.
Right.
Perfect point. They don't have the structure. What am I looking for here? The fan base? It's not really a fan base. Customer base.
Customer base.
They don't really have the customer base or the far-reaching If they fuck up, they're done.
Well, I think a lot of those game companies started off because they hated working for bigger companies that ruined them. You know, I think when Activision got, this is a really good example of a company that almost completely went under because of a developer, was Activision. It's probably not good for your PC. Activision, when they got picked up Blizzard, they almost completely ruined World of Warcraft, StarCraft, all those, because of their completely ridiculous schedule. And World of Warcraft, Blizzard lost huge amounts of their top programmers, their top designers and stuff because of the way Activision was behaving. And we've seen that happen dozens of times with EA buying up companies, and all of a sudden, who's that company that what?
What about who bought Bethesda?
That was Microsoft.
Because I haven't heard anything from Bethesda.
Well, they just need the name. They don't need to worry about what they're releasing. It's just boom, Bethesda. That we have it.
Sometime in 2029, 29 maybe.
Yeah.
We'll love.
Well, they're still recovering from Fallout 76, aren't they?
I don't know.
Like, they had such a successful launch of Fallout 4, which is funny, because we talk about bugless games. Bethesda games are, like, notorious for having some of the most game-breaking bugs.
But the trade-off there is that their games, after you get through those rough bugs, which normally are just silly nonsense.
Yeah, usually it's a joke bug.
Right. Yeah.
Then the game is just great.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I mean, you can overlook it. But when you have game-breaking bugs that just prevent the game from even operating, you can't.
Or don't crash your PC every time you get to a certain screen, or
You want to know who's don't quote me on this.
I'm writing this
so
down.
don't write this down. And if I'm wrong, feel free to just flame me in the comments. But you know who hasn't really had a rocky release? Now that I think about it,
Rocky.
like a rock.
Gotcha.
A bad release. I guess maybe with some of the Monster Hunters, it's arguable because they're a little bit buggy on release. But I played them on release and they were pretty fine.
Right.
Capcom.
Yeah.
The Resident Evil remakes, phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
Very few bugs. The Resident Evil new games like Village and Resident Evil 7.
Everything sells pretty good for them, and then the most atrocious thing I've heard that they do, or that they've done recently, is that they threw DLC into their newest re-release game, which once again that falls to the consumer. If you want to purchase that stuff, do it.
And
if you don't, then you don't.
Yeah. They put DLC in it, which is fine. Like, more cosmetics for a game that I love.
Yeah.
I'll pay for it. I don't care.
Yeah.
I like it.
That seems... I mean, yeah, sure, I don't necessarily want that to be a common thing with people, but I would rather have the game released like that.
Yeah, it was a fully released, fully finished remake.
And then have it come a week later. Fine, do that.
Yeah.
That's fine. Because at least then you know that you're going to make more money off of the customer base that's interested in your game at the beginning.
And I'm fine with day one DLC. I don't give a shit about day one DLC.
Oh, yeah?
If the game is good.
Yes.
And the game is functional.
Yep.
And there's enough content to make me feel like I want to play for... If I'm paying $60 for a game, I better be able to play it for 60 hours. Before I need that.
So what you're saying is games that make weeb trash are the good games. Companies.
As painful as it is to say...
it's Capcom. I never had a problem
But they
with
just
them.
did the Mega Man Battle Network Legacy Collection, too. Yeah. And that released very well.
Well, that's because, you know what, though? If you think about it, Capcom has always been a console company. There's no room to have that on a console back in the day, because all you got is little cartridges or discs. You can't just patch the cartridge. It doesn't work. No. You have to have the game run. Yeah. You just have to.
I think Street Fighter 6 is going to be the test of their whether or not... Because fighting games are hard.
Yes, they are. Because you have to push buttons really fast.
That's true. But I'm talking from a development standpoint.
Gotcha.
I feel like fighting games are hard. I guess I don't really know.
I mean, I feel like they would be a little more challenging because... At least for their competitive fan base, at the very least.
The balance is definitely a huge thing. Like, if the balance is bad, fighting game players are the loudest.
Yeah.
Maybe next to RTS players.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of stuff I don't know much about.
Let's talk about some... so... We started off with talking about Daisy and Rust. So let's go back to that a little bit.
Yep.
Let's talk about early access, because I feel like the AAA thing, everybody knows it's a problem. Oh, what can you do about the AAA problem?
Don't buy their games.
Don't buy their games.
I don't.
or wait for their games to go on sale, or you just got to be patient.
I don't usually buy their games. I wait until probably a year before I play a AAA title now.
Yep.
Like No Man's Sky, everybody pre-ordered it, pre-bought it,
Yep.
bought the expanded version, $180 version, and
Just disappointment.
took a year before the game was even really happily playable.
Yeah.
And now it's one of the better games on the market. It took 5
But
years
is
to
that
get
acceptable? Do you buy the game at that point? Like, even if they fix it all up, do you still
there.
invest?
I think you can now
I
because you
think-
can get it on sale for $20.
That was definitely an issue of the developer or the publisher.
Yeah.
Screaming at the developer
Yeah.
to release this game and start making us money. Like,
I mean,
I wish there was a way we could like give money just to the developer and not the publisher.
That's true.
Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
because
I'm in the ballpark of if a game company, publisher, developer, the whole bit, if they release a game and it is absolutely atrociously awful and takes them a year to get it all fixed up, you don't buy that game. If it takes them a couple weeks, maybe a month, like, okay, there's some sort of bug issue that they didn't see coming, understandable.
right.
But if it takes them a whole year to fix a game that they had, advertised for, promised a whole bunch for, and just said all sorts of crazy good things about, you just don't.
well, and they pushed the release dates back too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like you've had 3 extra months.
Yeah. If you're going to delay it, make sure that you delay it until it's done. Don't delay it until it's half
Yeah,
baked.
this is a thing of like, I don't know. It's like you just said, if you're gonna delay it, just fucking delay it. Like, sorry guys, it's not gonna be out this year.
Yeah.
Pre-orders are gonna scream at you, but it's their fault. They pre-ordered. Don't.
And most
Pro
people-
tip: do not, and I repeat, do not pre-order games
No.
ever. I don't care how great, how cool, how badass, what DLC you get. Do not pre-order games.
I've only done it twice, and I've only had a 50% success rate.
Yeah.
So you 50% sex rate? That's kind of weird.
Hey, that's,
Should not be pre-ordering from Russia and China.
don't worry
or
about the
Asia.
kinds of games I play.
Oh, okay, we won't.
No, I do have a 50% success rate as well. I pre-ordered Monster Hunter Rise, and I pre-ordered No Man's Sky.
Right.
That's the only 2 games I've ever pre-ordered.
I did Aliens, Colonial Marines, biggest mistake in my life, and God of War Ragnarok.
See, and God of War is one of those ones they're not going to fuck up. Like,
Yeah, they haven't messed up in years, so there was no reason for me to believe they were going to this.
Right, and there are companies out there that do release games that are fine.
Of course, I think I have about a 90% pre-release success rate, but I've been pre-releasing games longer than you guys might have.
Most people have been alive.
I've been really. I mean, I'd buy the MMOs back in the day. I'd buy their pre-releases.
Yeah, you pre-ordered Pong, so.
Yeah, we did. No, that was actually before my time. Amazingly enough.
Oh, okay.
I did have a Pong though. That was my first console was a Pong console. But yeah, when it started giving up EverQuest, let me see, it was called Landmark Next or something. EverQuest 3 essentially. I stopped giving into the world of pre-ordering.
I didn't realize this, but we could have split this into 2 episodes. this could have been AAA releases and early access.
That's true.
But that's fine. We'll keep it together. We might go a little longer here.
Maybe we'll have to go for 25 minutes. Like 2 minutes this
Oh
week.
man, I'll be foaming at the mouth.
Yeah, you will be. You'll be really getting upset.
Okay, so early access. Games that have not done it correctly, for the most part. I mean, they're out of early access now, whatever.
7 Days to Die.
7 Days to Die.
Still in early access.
Still in early access.
10 years going.
Caves of Cud.
Yeah.
Still in early access.
What was that game that just came out, Dwarves?
Dwarf Fortress.
Was that in early access, or was that released and then they just re-released it with a little more modern get up?
So it released as Dwarf Fortress Steam Edition.
Okay.
But yes, it is an early access game, technically, but they've never... It was free.
Right.
The Steam version is a paid version.
Okay.
However, it's pretty polished. It feels pretty good.
Fair enough.
It's not anything more than it promises to be. That's for sure.
Well, that's good. See, now early access, as long as they're not promising you nothing, you get into it knowing. I mean, that's on you. I've bought a lot of games early access with the hopes that they would be good games in the future.
No, it's a full release.
I'd say probably half. No, more than half have been good. But you buy them cheaper.
If you do early access, you should make it free to play early access. Personally,
yeah, but or steep discounts.
Yeah, steep discounts. I think that's like Foxhole did it right.
Minecraft did.
Yeah, Foxhole definitely did it right. That was $20 for the early access. Right. It was a playable game. It was a lot of fun. And they just released their Inferno update, which was 1.0 about 4 months ago.
Kind of what Minecraft did. I remember we bought Minecraft I think it was about $7 or $8. And it was playable. It wasn't as nearly as fun as it is now, but it was playable. And then, the next version came out at $15, $10, $15. Pretty soon it's a $30 game. Now I don't even know what they charge now for it.
I'm sure it's $60.
I think Minecraft is
probably
a great
$80 now.
example that you can make a game that isn't expensive and it can be successful.
Yeah.
And
Flappy Bird was. I don't know if you remember Flappy Bird.
Yep, I remember that.
Wait, no, we can't get into mobile games.
Oh, sorry.
No, okay. That's a whole new episode.
But it's to prove a point.
Yeah, no, I get it, yeah.
But yeah, no, Dwarf Fortress. Basically, I remember on Steam, I had it on my wish list for years on Steam. I think it was years. It was a long time. And the release date said time is subjective. Then all of a sudden, one day, out of the blue, in November of 2022, they're like, hey, here's the release date. The whole fucking community lost their mind. Because it was a month away.
Yeah.
And they released it, and it was a great game.
There's something to be said about that. Why do we have to have year-long preparation dates for all those releases as well?
Yeah, I've always hated that. Bethesda's always been really good about not telling you when they're going to release a game.
Mm-hmm.
11.
Because, other than that. But for the most part, when Bethesda said they're releasing a game, it was within usually a couple months and it was out.
Well, yeah.
And it's I'm going to play a new...
Well, the new Dead Island here. I mean, not that I'm saying that that's necessarily going to be a great game. I haven't played it or anything, but they announced it a week before the release.
Nice.
And that gets people hyped. That gets people excited.
And whatever happened to E3? Remember E3, the big?
Huh? E what?
Exactly. No, E3, the big.
Yeah, I know.
The game, the
electronic shows. Yeah,
what's the good equivalent? The car show of games, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And they'd spoil gameplay,
and
people would lose their fucking minds.
What? I think Blizzard might have ruined that.
That got too.
Y'all got cell phones, right?
Yeah. But I think what happened was, like you just said, the cell phone thing. Too many people. They were releasing the wrong thing, and people weren't getting hyped.
Well, it's because they were doing like cars do. They go out and release all these prototypes at these car shows. You never see them.
Yeah.
50 years down the road, we'll see them.
Is E3 even a thing anymore?
No, I don't think it is. If it is, it's pretty dead.
It is dead. They did not have it this year. They had everybody backed out. PlayStation, Xbox, Ubisoft, Nintendo all said they weren't going to it. So they just decided not to have it.
Yeah, well, you get one of the big guys moving out, the rest of them get nervous, wait,
E3 is officially dead.
Yeah.
IGN, which broke the news, obtained an internal memo saying that while E3, quote, remains a beloved event and brand, the 2023 version, quote, simply did not garner the sustained interest necessary to execute it in a way that would showcase the size, strength, and impact of our industry.
That's why we can make this podcast, is because game companies are starting to suck. Most of them are just garbage these days. You can't trust anything they're saying or releasing. You just got to wait until the game comes out, and then wait a year, and then you can play it.
I think part of the problem is that they're being run by people who don't care.
It's all about money. It's not about...
Anyway.
Oh, yeah, no, it's shareholders that care about the money.
Yeah, they care about the money.
I'm sorry, but you don't go into making video games as a developer, as a programmer, as someone who literally makes video games.
Right.
You don't go in expecting to make tons of money.
No.
You go in because you love it and because it's something you're passionate
Well, you will
about.
make tons of money. You just have to make a good game, take your time, build your consumer base, and they'll buy everything you send at them. Look, Bethesda, Blizzard, EA, all their sports games. They could release 2 freaking NFL sports games every year, and people would buy them because just because their games are polished and they just release them constantly.
Yeah,
and people buy them all the time.
As much as it hurts me to say it, Call of Duty kind of does it right. You don't change the game.
Right.
You just reskin it.
You just reskin it. And keep
because
pushing
then you
it
don't
out.
have to worry about
Right, you don't have to worry about bugs because all you have to do is just put new skins on them. Yep.
Yeah, new skins on it.
Yeah, it's
and that's just pure money hungry.
But you can't do that unless you already have a following. You can't do that.
The kind of person that what can be polarizing. I'm gonna say it. The kind of person that plays Call of Duty and like wants to play multiplayer and like keeps up with Call of Duties is the same guy that buys every new iPhone.
That's true because I don't buy iPhones. I don't play Call of Duty, so here we are.
I'm just saying, it's the same mentality.
It's the same
mentality.
It is. It absolutely is very much the same thing.
Well, and it works for these companies because there's plenty of sheep out there to do it.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is like if you're one of our podcast listeners, I'm going to hope that you're an informed listener now. Don't be a sheep.
I mean, at the same time, though, like with the Call of Duty games, you know, if you're a Call of Duty fan, that when they release it, it's going to be a Call of Duty game and it's going to work properly.
And it's going to be playable.
And the trouble is, you're not going to be able to play multiplayer on the old one because everybody's going to migrate to the new one.
Yep. That is one downfall with a big company like that. Is all their old games are just... Or you can do like Blizzard did and release Overwatch 2, completely just nuts
the
first
your
one.
entire fan
Yeah,
base
like what?
in one night.
Yeah, they literally released a buggy, shitty game.
Wow.
And nuked.
Thank you, Activision. I'm glad you're doing some good for the world.
What about like all the cosmetics you had in Overwatch 1 and shit?
Mm-hmm.
I would have been pissed.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of money.
None of it carried over, and then suddenly the game is just more expensive and worse overall.
And worse, yeah.
How do you...
You want to know how to not run a video game company? Look at Blizzard, look at Activision.
You know, it's sad because Blizzard used to be such a... They were Bethesda before Bethesda was.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And everything they released was good, and it ran good. I mean, Warcraft 3, there's just games that are made off that whole platform.
Oh, yeah. Warcraft 3 literally spawned an entire genre of games.
It's just... And then they decided that they needed a publisher. Like, they were doing it themselves. They were rolling in the money. Oh, we need a publisher. Well, now publishers get involved. All the good guys quit. And so now it's technically Blizzard's fault for being stupid. I mean, you gave up your rights.
Which is funny because like they had Battle.net.
Yeah, they had their own stuff.
Which is crazy, okay? Think of like the polarization between Steam and Epic.
Yeah.
We had Steam versus Battle.net, but it wasn't really versus because Battle.net's just like, hey,
you can play our games here.
Yeah, this is blue. Like everyone just accepted it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because it was reliable and good when it came out, but now it was just sad. I think Microsoft might actually do stuff with it. I don't know. I'm pretty sure there's a game I play a Microsoft game that goes to Battle.net. It's really weird.
That is strange.
I'm gonna have to look that up someday. But I'm old. I could be just having a stroke too.
But, I mean, that does happen to people.
No, I'm good.
So, we still haven't gotten to it, but early access.
Yeah. Early access, yep.
Games that did it right.
Right.
We've talked a lot about how not to do things.
Well, yeah, but nobody really cares about games that do it right.
This episode is just one big rant. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
But let's look for that light at the end of the tunnel. Games that did it right. Anybody? Early access games. I got a bunch.
I mean, I don't really do early access very often, but I hear about it.
Well,
we talked about Minecraft, right?
Yeah, Minecraft.
Was one.
Yeah, Minecraft did it right, but that it wasn't even called early access back then. It was just called. It was released.
Oh, man, I feel like you have to go so far back to find really successful ones. Do you have any?
I do. I have quite a few actually.
Okay.
I can't tell because I don't have my game list here, so I don't remember all. I don't know.
A good one that I recently just picked up. I haven't played it in early access, but it's always maintained like a 90 plus, 95 plus positive rating on Steam.
Gotcha.
Noida.
What is that?
It's a kind of weeb trash game. I don't know.
No, it's a...
Sounds like it. That's why I never played it.
It's a pixel physics roguelike where you play a wizard.
Fluffy got excited about it until he heard what kind of game it was. So then I decided that...
And you shoot wands, and...
Okay.
It's a wacky game.
Right.
It's like a Caves of Cud kind of game.
Right. Oof.
Just wacky. It's a 2D side scroller. The point of the game doesn't matter. What matters is they did constant updates. They listened to the community. They did balanced patches. They added new features. They had a roadmap. Roadmaps are big. If you're an indie developer and you want to do early access, give me a goddamn roadmap.
Okay.
Not this game will be done in a year. Bullshit. Looking at you, Daisy.
It's a sore spot for him, I think.
It is.
I never even played Daisy.
Okay.
Watch
Another one
play
here's one that's currently doing it right.
Okay.
Songs of Conquest.
Okay.
It's a Heroes of Might and Magic 3 clone.
Right.
We've talked about it before on this
Yep.
podcast. They have a roadmap. They hit all their markers in quarter one. For the past, 4 quarters, they've hit all their markers for the roadmap. The game is great. They've introduced awesome features. It's maintained a playability the whole way through.
Okay. Well, this is good.
This is how you do early access.
Right.
If you want a current how to do early access, look at Songs of Conquest.
Okay. So now I'm thinking of games that I play that might be that were early access when I started.
Wasn't it?
I don't know if Ark was. I don't remember.
No, Ark wasn't.
The Raft. That was an early access game when I started.
Is it full release now?
I believe it's fully released. I think they released all the content they said they wanted to release, and now it's full release.
The Raft.
But it was always playable from day one. When we bought it to, the island was not was it the island? I don't remember. I know the Raft for sure. It was just one of those non-competitive shark eat your boat type of games.
Is it called Raft?
Oh, Raft. Sorry, not the Raft. My bad. I'm mixing titles of probably 6 games just because.
Yeah, it's got 90 plus positive.
It's Scrap Mechanic. I think was another one that was early. It might even still be in early access. But when I bought both of those games, I bet you they were $10 or less. I mean, for me, $10 to hope a game is going to be good down the road. Actually, other companies that do early access we haven't even touched on yet are companies that do software development or just software companies like.
I don't know anything about this.
We'll use some map maker programs to do it. Early access. There's one called Dungeon Alchemist that did a Kickstarter. And it's in early access on Steam. But it's a fully fledged out. All they're going to do is just add more stuff. Tabletop Simulator, when I bought it, was early access.
Oh, okay.
Stuff like that.
Roll20.net.
Yeah. I mean, I bought a lot of those in early access because I knew I may not use them today, but I'm not going to stop being an RPGer. Mm-hmm. And, maybe 10 years down the road, I'm like, I got a plethora of software that are just dead set.
Okay, so let me play devil's advocate here.
Yeah.
This is like the opposite way of looking at it.
Uh-oh.
So
the wrong way. Gotcha.
If you want to be an optimist about your early access games,
right?
Think of it as an investment.
Yep.
So you paid $20 now, or $30 now, or for some early access, $40.
I don't know if I go that wild, but
people do it.
Yeah, they do. They do.
You put that money in. People are going to say, "Don't bitch about the game."
Right.
Or what it's like in early access because it's early access. Right. You didn't have to buy it.
Right, fair enough. I don't usually either. Fair enough. Yeah, no, I don't. In fact, most of the time I just buy the software and download it and then don't look at it again.
And you're just investing.
Until I need it.
That's like AI War 2 released early access.
Right.
I picked it up and I'm like, there's no multiplayer. And I'm like, oh, okay. Put it on the shelf for about 4 years. Let it cook, and now they have multiplayer. And I'm like, okay, I'll play it.
Right.
But it was like a $20 investment for early access. It wasn't bad.
I wish we could do that with other things. Anyway, sorry. Wish we could buy Magic cards like that. Hey, the new set's coming out beginning of the year. Pay $40 for the booster box now and get it. I'd do that right now.
You could pre-order them.
Oh yeah, for full retail. Sounds great.
That's why they hate spoilers.
Yeah.
Because if they spoil a set, it's doo-doo.
Ooh. That'll be the next episode. We're going to talk about this. There's some stuff going on we need to talk about. Anyway, early access. We got to get past that.
Yeah. I mean, we're basically...
I think we've covered a lot of pros.
Yeah, we're beating a dead horse at this point. Don't pre-order games. Early access at your own risk.
It's like gambling. Early access is gambling. That's the easiest way to say it. If you can't lose the money, then don't spend it.
And here's the ultimate advice for all of this.
buy everything. Oh, no. Okay.
Wait, and hear me out on this. Wait 2 days for any game that releases. Don't pre-order. Just do not pre-order. Wait 2 games for any game that releases. Read the reviews. Let some other poor idiot be the schmuck.
Because all the iPhone users will definitely buy pre-order.
Yeah, the iPhone users will definitely. Not shitting on it. I'm saying people that buy the new iPhone every time it comes out. I want to be very specific about that.
If you're
Yeah,
an
yeah,
iPhone
if you're an Apple
user,
user,
Jacob hates you.
yeah. Whatever. Anyways, don't pre-order. That's all. That's all I got.
Fair enough.
See you next week. I'm
Yeah.
David.
I'm Scott.
I'm Matt.